Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. It is May 23rd, 2019. And today, folks, early this morning, there are 41 million people at risk for a tornado threat across the central part of the United States and also moving into the East Coast. Now, yesterday, folks, during my live stream, we were looking at some of the GOES 16 radar footage, and we were also looking at the jet stream pattern. And I mentioned that when we were looking at this this jet stream and the storm pattern yesterday, it definitely looked like it was going to be heading up into central Canada. Well, within about 6 hours after my broadcast, everything changed. Again, this jet stream is so erratic and so violent, and I will have to use that word violent because that's exactly what it is. The wind speeds in the jet stream have actually increased, and everything changed in that time frame. And I was a little busy yesterday, but whenever I got back home, I was checking into this, and I said to myself, holy hell, everything has changed. So central Canada was now out of the bullseye, and today it's going to be the East Coast of the United States. We're talking about states, for instance, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, where I live here, West Virginia. I mean, this is going to be very interesting. Already here in my neck of the woods in Pittsburgh, late last night and early this morning, I've been up since 3 a.m. checking on all of this data. We are already in store for 70-mile-an-hour winds and very, very serious tornado threats. So I'm going to be going down to my automotive garage as soon as I'm done with this live stream, and I'm going to secure, some things outside that I just don't want to blow away. And excuse me. I'm also going to be securing some things here around my own home. And if any of you folks live in the path of these tornadoes, I would do the same. If you have garbage cans, whether they be plastic or metal, if you have lawn furniture, anything outside of your house that can become a projectile or that you just frankly don't want to lose, take it and put it inside. If you have a garage, put it in your garage. If you have a basement, take it down into your basement. But just do something with it, because as I was watching a lot of this footage yesterday, last night, and already this morning, folks, people have already lost their lives. People have actually died yesterday. There was just a absolutely horrendous situation in Missouri. So far, I've just got some statistics that just came in. So far, this month, we've had 286 tornadoes. 286. The record stood at 185. So already we are at 286. That is a considerable increase. And the flooding situation. I mentioned that yesterday. I'm going to mention it again today. This flooding situation is very, very serious. All of these rivers that are in the path of these storm fronts, all of these rivers, the majority of them, let's put it that way, the majority of them all lead into the Mississippi River. They're already having huge flooding problems in parts of Oklahoma and Missouri. This is just a terrible, terrible situation, and we do have to keep a very vigilant watch on what is happening. Again, Things changed so rapidly between the time I had my live stream yesterday morning and early afternoon. It was just absolutely incredible. From what we were seeing and the predictive models, it looked like all of this storm surge was going to be heading straight up into central Canada. Everything has changed. That is one of the biggest warnings that I can give you folks. Keeping an eye on the weather situations as often as you can. Reason being, these sudden changes. You know, yesterday morning, I wasn't thinking anything about any type of weather in my neck of the woods. Nothing. Just probably some humidity that's going to be coming up from this huge heat wave that is forming in the south right now. I'm getting some data in right now that doesn't look too good for some southern states. We're looking at probably about 6 or 7 states down in the south that are going to have 99-degree temperatures for 5 or 6 days straight. Folks, this is only going into the last week of May. The temperatures are already going sky high. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying, because a lot of people have asked me, well, it's cold where I live in the United States. It's below average. And that is correct, folks. There are some sections of the United States, some sections of the world that are having below average temperatures. And there are some sections that are going to have extremely high and above average temperatures. We're going to see this from now on. This is going to be part of our weather, part of our life. And I mentioned this yesterday. All of these things that are transpiring right now, they seem to be ramping up quickly, very, very fast. To me, that's very alarming, because I really didn't think that we would see this type of increase this fast. I thought things would gradually start to move upward. But things are changing. And I think the beginning of this solar minimum is going to put all of us at risk, great risk, when it comes to our weather, and also an influx of heat. And again, not everybody is going to experience these extreme heat waves. This is very, very unusual for the South, and for people who are elderly or who have breathing problems. Listen, take heed of this warning today, right now. If you live in any of these southern states, and I'll outline where this heat wave is going to be once again, in case you didn't see the broadcast from yesterday morning, or you just plain forgot. I will go ahead and outline that for you. I'm going to show you also where some of the biggest threats are going to be. Not only are we going to be dealing with the tornado threat, 41 million people right now are in the path of this tornado threat. 41 million. That's incredible. But not only are we going to be dealing with these tornado threats, we're going to be dealing with very, very severe lightning, very, very heavy downpours of rain. Once again, as the atmosphere starts to heat up, as we move into the hours of, I would say anything past noon, going into the evening. Because remember, folks, just because the sun goes down doesn't mean the atmosphere immediately cools down. We saw this last night in all of these Midwestern states. When that sun went down, that atmosphere was still warm. The cooling effect and those two forms of energy colliding Bingo. We had more tornadoes touching down last night after sunset than there was in the daytime. So that's pretty incredible also. And it's also showing you how powerful these storms are. You know, as I'm listening to some of the meteorologists, they're all referring to these storms as supercells. You know, anytime you put the word super in front of anything, well, yeah, it means big, it means bad. So Indiana right now is not looking too good. The state of Iowa, specifically around Davenport, again, my God. I was listening to a report from a Davenport meteorologist last night. They're looking at the possibilities of anywhere between 5 and 8 days of substantial rain. If you don't remember, Davenport was underwater just about a week ago. They were still trying to dry out. Now they're going to be under a direct threat for more catastrophic flooding. All of the rivers that are in the path of these storms right now will begin to flood. Some of them are already over their banks and causing flooding situations as we speak. Yesterday, I caught a video of a house literally being struck by a barn, and I'll show you the video. But there was a barn, a huge barn, floating down the river because it had gotten sucked in, and the barn hit the edge of a house that was along a flooded riverbank, and it literally struck the house, tore the house off, and then that's it. This pretty big house was literally just crushed and drawn right into the river and disappeared. Now, there have already been numerous people hospitalized for very severe injuries. There was a collapsed building. People were being rescued in this building. And again, right now, they were listing 3 deaths that were confirmed. I heard differently. I heard 6 people were killed. 3, I think it was either 3 in Oklahoma and 3 in Missouri. I may have that information wrong, but I heard 6 people have already died and multiple people injured. The majority of these folks are being injured by flying debris. And with the speed of a tornado, anything flying around at 150 to 200 miles an hour, it can kill you. Being struck in the head with it, a small piece of wood, a rock, anything flying around, a piece of metal, or larger objects. You know, folks, the 22 years that I lived in Miami, I went through some of the biggest hurricanes. I went through Hurricane Andrew, and for me, that was pretty devastating. I lived in North Miami Beach. I lived on the Intercoastal, and I was kind of late evacuating. Why? Because of my father. You know, my dad's a procrastinator, and he's like, "Oh, this storm it's going to miss us. It's going to go further south." And I listened to him, and we really got stuck. And we were literally on I-95 coming out of the city, trying to head north, and we were literally stuck in 6 lanes of traffic going north. And they opened up the other 6 lanes going southbound. They opened those up going north. So 12 lanes of traffic and 6 million people trying to get out of the path of that hurricane. It was pretty devastating. But I learned quite a bit after that. I started to research and learn about hurricanes because I figured if I was going to live here for the rest of my life, I better know what the hell is going on. Any object, 2x4s, can go right through concrete block walls. They can go through small metal buildings. So the potential of being out there and running around, even trying to be outside, risking your life and getting hit by one of these objects, that's it, you're toast. You're now a statistic. The flooding, again, folks, I was watching rescues yesterday, and people just didn't heed the warnings. They stayed in their homes, they got flooded out, and they had to be rescued. So let's remember one thing. If you decide to be thick-headed and not vacate and get yourself out of the way, if you can, remember one thing. When you have to be rescued, you're now putting the lives of rescue workers in danger. And here's something else. A lot of these cities and these emergency management teams are now saying, they've been saying this for a couple of years, but they're now saying, if you did not heed warnings, we are not going to put our rescue workers at risk. You're on your own. And they started that the last two hurricane seasons. People just did not want to get out, and they end up sitting on the roof of their house waving for helicopters to come rescue them during the storm surges. So, if you do have the ability to evacuate, just do it. Because if you get stuck and rescue workers can't get to you, and these storm patterns seem to be lasting hours and hours and hours, some of them 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, you are really, really putting yourself at risk. If you have children, do not put the lives of your kids in danger just because you don't want to evacuate. If you don't know what to do, call your local sheriff's department, police department, fire department, ambulance department, emergency management. Get these telephone numbers, have them in your cell phone. If you have questions, get in contact with these folks. One thing I have noticed is a lot of these emergency management organizations within cities are now on Twitter. And if you don't have a Twitter account, get one today, get one soon, and find your emergency management operation, find them on Twitter, and follow them. And that way maybe you can keep yourself up to date if there are evacuations and things that are on a need-to-know basis. Folks, this is getting pretty scary as far as the power of these storms. I'm just going to pull up the live chat here real quick. And it's very, very sad to see people lose their lives. I just that really, really bothers me to see people have to die during situations like this. We are still a modern society. We have technology, and with some of the networks on social media, I hate to give them credit like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, but I'm going to have to. A lot of these organizations are on social media, so you can subscribe to them. If you have a really good hardcore truther channel on YouTube that you could actually trust, like me, then you can definitely tune in and make sure those notifications are set up. Our private network that I've set up, there's no doubt you will get notifications whenever I post something. That is one of the main reasons why I created that private network, because I cannot trust in YouTube, Twitter, or, Facebook. I've told people before, follow me on Twitter. And it just seems for some reason, I don't know if Twitter is holding me back, but for weeks and weeks now, I can't get past a lousy 48 people following me on Twitter. We have over 82,000 subscribers to this channel, but again, I don't know if YouTube is holding back the views. I don't know if they are not notifying all of you, but something's very, very fishy when it comes to this YouTube channel. I know they've been censoring me for probably about 2.5 years now, but we're getting into risky management here, people really do have the right to know. Yesterday, listen to this. Yesterday, after my live stream, which I thought was pretty good, we had some good news about the family from Texas, from Bollinger. As soon as I ended my live stream, 5 minutes later, I received an email from the boob tube. And guess what they did? Because of my live stream, they handed down a community guideline strike against my YouTube channel. What the hell for? Yeah. You know why, folks? Because I was talking about weather, I was talking about flooding, and I was talking about tornadoes. And I was talking about newsworthy stories that people should hear. YouTube thinks that you should not hear this information. You should hear it from mainstream media. Well, each and every time they do this to me, I appeal their decision and I remind these snowflakes that I have a press pass. I am an actual journalist. So you go ahead and you keep on censoring me, and you're going to find yourself wrapped up in a freaking lawsuit. So, once again, after I appeal their decision, I forward my press credentials within the damn email. Yeah, they release the community guideline strike, and they give me their little snowflake apology, which I then flush down the damn toilet. So, these are the problems with social media. We have very, very serious situations going on out there. If you subscribe to a YouTube channel or you follow someone on Twitter, don't you think that you deserve the right to see what you're subscribed to? Absolutely blows my mind at some of the idiotic rules that they have. If I use the word flood, flood. Wow. Their artificial intelligence will be reading that word, flood. If you use the word chemtrail, the next thing you know, you end up with a Wikipedia disclaimer at the bottom of your video that talks about contrails. Even though the government and mainstream science has already come out and said, yes, there is a thing called stratospheric aerosol injection, and we're going to be using it in the very near future. Bullshit. You're already using it now. You're chemtrailing the living shit out of our skies. You're spraying poison everywhere. We don't know what you're spraying. Yesterday, I went and was doing some small yard work, and lo and behold, I look up, and there it is, everywhere, all over the sky. Like I've said before, folks, if they are trying to bounce back radiation, absorb radiation, that's fine. Just get out there on the White House lawn, bring the damn scientists to the almost dropped another F-bomb. Bring the scientists to the podium and release a damn statement. Tell the American public what you are doing. It is as simple as that. We're not going to panic. We're not going to freak out. Maybe you are trying to save the planet. Who knows? But in my eyes, all you're doing is creating a damn conspiracy. And I've been investigating chemtrails since 2005, and I will continue. But anyways, folks, there was another topic that I want to touch on before we get into this weather. I had a few people inboxing me and emailing me once again, and they're kind of getting caught up in some of these other YouTube channels that they've been watching for a while. And then once they get over here to Planet X News, all of a sudden they're hearing something completely different. They're no longer listening to make-believe. They're no longer watching so-called lens flare picture shows. And they're seeing more of a scientific viewpoint, some actual facts on what is happening out there near our sun. It's no conspiracy. These are facts. I have the biggest database of observational evidence that anybody has on this planet except for the governments. That's it. So I got a few emails from a few people, and they were kind of complaining about these other YouTube channels. And again, I get thrown into this crap all the time. Even though I tell you folks to stop watching those channels, it is as easy as hitting the unsubscribe button and moving on. If you're interested in this subject matter, then you're going to go back to school. You're going to go back to science class. Earth space science is the class that you're going to be in. Not astronomy. Earth space science. And I've been studying this now for actually more than 20 years. I picked up on this in college in 1991 because of a professor of mine. And I've told you folks this story before. He led me into all of this. And over all of these years, I've kept on looking into it. And, now for the last 5 years, things have really, really opened up. And this YouTube channel has made leaps and bounds in proving beyond a shadow of a doubt we know what's going on out there near our sun. It's a fact. Everything that is happening right now on our planet is directly attributed to what is lurking out there, orbiting our sun. Not some damn mythological Nibiru that was a government disinformation campaign. Okay? Let's just get that out there. So I answered a few of these inbox messages from a few of these folks. We talked about that one goon yesterday, that Alex Lujan. A lot of people inboxed me and said, yeah, I'm guilty. I was watching his videos. Yeah, he doesn't show anything but complete nonsense. Okay, that's great. Then, I start getting these inbox messages. I got a few emails about this guy, Brian Knight. Look, I didn't even know who this guy was. I did see him in the comment section, or not the comment section, the chat, the live chat a few times on my videos. And then Mark from the Blue Kool-Aid channel mentioned him a few times to me. And I did take a look at a few of his videos, maybe about a month ago. And then I started saying to myself, wow, what the hell is this guy talking about? And I read the comments of the people that are watching the videos, and they are lost, completely lost. And if you're just now learning about this subject matter, and you've been watching some other YouTube channels, you're lost. You're completely lost. And I don't feel bad saying that. And if anybody thinks wrong of me for saying that, hey, listen, too bad. I have given half of my life researching this subject to try and disclose the truth. And I will say this again. I will be damned if some other YouTubers, people on Facebook or Twitter, muddy the waters with nonsense when there are real people out there in this world at risk, and people who do want the true knowledge. So, let this be a little message for other people that want to delve into this on YouTube. Get your facts straight. If you don't have a science background, get one. Get your head in some books and read as much as you can, because you have a responsibility to your subscribers to deliver the truth, not nonsense. We're not reading a comic book. We're dealing with real lives and real people. And you creating disinformation or misinformation or just your sheer ignorance because you don't know what you're looking at, you can cause serious problems. Serious problems. So, you either join us in the research or stop making these stupid videos and telling people complete, utter lies. And I'll say it, complete, utter lies. So, let me just do this, because I know I'm probably pissing a few people off, and you know what? Hey, it's just going to be Get Pissed Off Thursday. So, one person recommended that they said, well, you know, Scott, why don't you preview some of these channels for all of us so we know who to watch and who not to watch. You know, for me, folks, that's kind of like sliding down a double-edged sword, because some people say, oh, all you're doing is bullying other people. Okay, you call it whatever the hell you want. But like I've said before, folks, do you want the actual truth, or do you just want to read a comic book? I'm not here to play games. I'm not here for a popularity contest either. I have real people around the world that are worried to death about what some of these other YouTube channels are actually saying, doing, and putting out there. So, I was up very early this morning. I happened to tune into Marfugal TV, and I like the guy's channel. He does some pretty good work. He's got a huge following out there. I've been a call-in guest on his channel. I was just actually a call-in guest yesterday. I really haven't had a lot of time on Marfugal TV to give people, all of his followers, a really, really good rundown on Planet X and these objects that do orbit our sun. And it just so happens, as I was tuning in, he was pretty close to the end of his broadcast, because he broadcasts very, very late at night, very early in the morning my time, because he's on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast. So, as I tuned in, I just said good morning to everybody, and it just so happens that one of my subscribers was in there watching his broadcast. She inboxed me, and she said, oh my God, Scott, did you hear that Brian Knight on Marfugal earlier? And I said, no, I did not. I just tuned in 2 minutes ago. And she said, wow, this guy is batshit crazy. She said, you need to call in because he's telling people complete nonsense. And I said, well, look, give me a few minutes. Let me try to backtrack through Marf's live stream. Let me see what the hell he said. Oh, dear God. So I did. And this guy, Brian Knight, has been riding on my coattails and Mark's coattails for a few months now. And what I've noticed is after I put information out, he pretty much copies what I'm saying and what I'm doing, and then he kind of adds his own spin to it in his own videos. And, hey man, to each their own. But when you're dealing with a sensitive subject like this, it would be much better for you to have your facts straight. Period. So I go back and I listen to what he is telling Adam on Marfoogle. And I listened to like the first couple of minutes of it. I'm like, what in the hell is this guy saying? You know, the last couple of days we've been watching Mercury's transition around the backside of the sun. We see it all the time. Mercury takes 88 days to make one complete orbit around the sun. Within Earth's orbit around the sun and the orbit of the stereo spacecraft, the SDO, and some of these other telescopic cameras that we watch, every now and then you will see Mercury come into view on one of these cameras. I've caught a lot of YouTube channels in the past claiming that, it was, quote, Dr. Albers' terminology, a stellar core, which now Brian uses, and they claim it's Nibiru, when it's nothing more than Mercury's transition, and you're now seeing it because of everything's position is right and spot on. So this guy is claiming that during this recent transition of Mercury, that Mercury created a CME on the sun. That's completely false. There is no way, no physical way ever that the little teeny tiny planet of Mercury could cause a CME expulsion on the sun. Folks, if that was true, then every single orbit of Mercury, when it got close to the sun, because Mercury does also have a little bit of an elliptical orbit. Excuse me. I'm dying over here. But as soon as Mercury got close to the sun, the sun would have a CME. We don't see that. So Brian is telling people completely mistruths, complete lie. And I think he knows it. He's trying to grow his YouTube channel. He was, asking Marfoogle TV during his telephone call in, hey, that's what they do for folks. They do it for me. They do it for others. They boost your YouTube channel with subscribers, and that's cool. But folks, if you listen to some of his videos, they're half-assed. They don't make any sense. And then you read the comments of the people following his YouTube channel, and they're freaking bewildered. It's like they're lost souls walking through the thick forest without a compass, and they don't know where they're going. So what is the sense? If you don't understand this information, what is the sense in even watching it? If you're not willing to truly learn what is happening, then what is the sense in watching it? So, I listened to a little bit more of this telephone call-in with this Brian Knight on Marfoogle TV, and I'm completely getting pissed off. I'm like, wow, this guy is completely insane, or he is just trying to play things up for, more YouTube views and more subscribers. That's all cool and dandy. But listen, man, Brian Knight, I hope you're listening to me right now, but you better get your facts straight. If you want to play around in this playground in Planet X research, I will call you out. I have no problem with it. And you better get your facts straight. And if you're going to listen to my live streams and you're going to watch my discoveries and Mark's discoveries and then bump over to your YouTube channel and claim them as your own to your subscribers, well, let's just say you're becoming a big fake like everybody else. So, ladies and gentlemen, for many years now, a lot of people have jumped on this bandwagon on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, and they've tried to create a personality and a presence for themselves in this so-called Planet X or Nibiru community. But do they actually do real research? Do they actually show you scientific proof? Do they actually show you real observational evidence that they are discovering themselves? The answer to that is no. Is no. So, let's do this. Let's take a few minutes. And let's bust out of here. And let's jump over here. And I actually have the telephone call-in with Marfugal TV and Brian Knight. And I'm sure Marf won't mind me previewing this video in my live stream. And here's something else, folks. If you do want to watch some really, really good commentary, Adam does a fantastic job on his YouTube channel. I actually love the folks over at Marfugal TV. He's got several YouTube channels. He does a really, really good job. He's invested a lot of money in his program, his own money. And the people that are subscribed to his YouTube channel are no-nonsense people. They have brains. They seem to be somewhat educated, and they're really cool. A lot of those folks have now subscribed over here to Planet X News because I've been on Marf's show a couple of times as a call-in. And we've been trying to get together here soon, and I'm going to see if he would like to dedicate, probably 1 to 2 hours and do a complete special on Planet X. I think that would dissolve a lot of the disinformation that is actually out there. And there is a ton of it. It's everywhere. And I'm going to be honest. I mean, I'm not bad-mouthing people, but I hate that, people continuously inbox me and email me, and they're asking me, hey, can you do something about this? Hey, can you do something about this? And I should actually just say no. But see, folks, that's not who I am. I am a hardcore truther. I want the truth. I want full disclosure. So why should I sit back and watch others give other people that are interested, give them the wrong information? That just doesn't sound right, does it? I think all of you would probably expect more from me. I'm not bullying it. I'm not bullying anybody. I'm asking you to get your facts straight. If you're not sure about something, inbox me. Email me. It's that simple. Hey, Scott, listen, I found this, I found that. How does this instrument work? What am I looking at here? Folks, I get 300, 400, 500 emails a day, several hundred inbox messages. Some people get mad because I can't get back to them as soon as possible. I do my damnedest. I have a 14-hour day, 7 days a week. I have my own business to actually run and, take care of all of this Planet X business and what's happening to our planet. So it's a busy day. If I don't get back to you immediately, I'm sorry. But I want to listen to this, and I want you guys to listen to this, and you be your own judge. Okay? You judge this book by its cover. And then we'll go from there. But I hate calling people out. But if you're not going to produce the real information for people that are starving for it, I think that's wrong. I truly think that's wrong, especially nowadays when people's lives are at risk. I'm not going to let that slide. Seriously. So, let's listen to this interview. I'm going to have to turn it up a little bit because the audio of his phone call is kind of low. I hope you guys can hear it. Marf may be a little bit louder than his caller, but this is the call-in with Brian Knight and Marfoogle TV just a few hours ago. Let's check it out.
TV, what's going on?
Howdy, folks. This is Brian Knight from somewhere in Nevada.
Hey, Brian. I'm so glad you called back. We had our whole phone system crash, and you and I believe Kathy Paena, both of you guys
Kathy
got crashed on.
Anyways, first off, I would like to thank you, Adam, for your courage and your dedication, because what we do with the truth here is not easy. Also, I'd like to thank the Foogle fam and you, too, for helping push my channel over 1,000 subscribers. And let's get to business here. Can you pull up my channel? Because I got something to show you.
Sure. Bam.
Okay. Click on videos when you get there.
Okay.
And scroll down to the video called Wake Up Call. It's a 2 minutes 50 second video, and play that. It's kind of small, so if you put it on big screen, so the people with phones and small
Okay,
screens
so what am I
better.
showing people, Brian?
It's activity that's around our sun. There's objects that have been like attacking our sun and sucking material off of it. It's called Wake Up Call. Scroll back up a little bit.
I was just going to see if I could get
It's
to
like
it.
one of the first lower solar ones. Wake Up Call.
Okay, let me find it real quick.
Come on, Marf, find it.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see.
Probably like 4 or 5 rows down.
Yeah, more than that. It's going.
Yeah, maybe a little more than that.
Don't know why there's no audio here. Oh, so you're saying when the solar flare...
Solar flare. See the wings on it?
Okay, I've gone back a little bit, so listen up.
Bigger object. It's maybe 10 times bigger than our sun. Nemesis brown dwarf star. See, it clear as a bell.
Oh, so you're saying when the solar flare...
You'll see it. Just
burst.
You'll keep going here, and it'll freeze frame on it, and I'll start pointing it out and describing it to you.
So that's not it exploding. That's it
Right
brightening, and then there's a shape behind it.
Yep, you can see the wings on the side of the, and then it goes to the next frame, and there's a much bigger object. Now, that white circle that you see in the middle represents the size of the sun. And if you look at that object back behind it, that's still at a 45-degree angle back behind the sun. It's not even side by side yet, and it's already bigger than the sun. That object has more mass than our entire solar system. And it's sucking material and energy off the planet, off the sun, I mean.
Is it...
Okay, folks, I have to stop it right there. And I don't know if you heard what he said. He said that object has more mass than our entire solar system. Now, That is a completely uneducated statement. And for somebody like his own viewers that don't know any better, they would take that as truth. Do you understand where I'm going with all of this? You watch these types of videos and research, you watch it for a reason, because you want the hardcore truth. You don't want a story, you want the truth. So he's claiming that this little tiny object has more mass than everything in the solar system. But he doesn't even know what the mass of an object really is. The object that he's looking at is Mercury. And then this is an older video of his from 2018. He claims that, once again, that huge, massive coronal mass ejection was caused by this little tiny object that's no more than 3,036 miles in diameter, caused that massive coronal mass ejection on the sun, and that object is Nibiru! Nibby! Yeah! You see where I'm going with this, folks? Do you want the truth, or do you want story time? If you want story time, you keep leafing through YouTube and you find those little stories to put you to sleep at night. If you want hardcore science and the truth and the best observational evidence that you will ever see related to this subject matter, you'll stick your ass right here, and only right here. And yeah, let's go on and listen some more.
If say hypothetically, if that was Planet 9 and it was that big, wouldn't it suck the sun in or something? Like, it was that big.
It's about to. And that's what's causing all of our earthquakes, our volcanoes, the crazy weather and everything. This was captured on the 10th of September in 2017.
Okay, folks, he just told all of Marf's people that this object was going to suck the sun in. That little teeny tiny object that is no more than 3,000 miles in diameter is going to suck the sun in, which is 865,000 miles in diameter. Wow. What kind of freaking math class did you take? Because that just doesn't even add up, and it would be physically impossible, and the man knows absolutely nothing about the little teeny tiny planet of Mercury. But I'm going to teach you a little bit about Mercury today, before we get into this weather, because folks, what I'm showing you now is important. I'm not bullying this guy. I'm helping you out. I'm helping you to find the real truth. This reminds me of that scene with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson in the movie A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth! You don't want the truth! Let's listen to some more.
That's 13 days before the Revelation 12 star alignment. And the Revelation 12 says, the dragon will appear before the woman, bathed in the sun with the moon at her feet and a crown of 12 stars. Well, the dragon appeared before the woman. It appeared 13 days.
Okay, real quick, folks. Do you hear what he's saying? And if any of you are familiar with the other scammer out there by the name of David Meade, you know why you don't hear anything about David Meade anymore and his books and all of his writings on Planet X and Nibiru? Is because David Meade was a complete hoax. Everything David Meade wrote about was a complete hoax. The man sold a lot of books, man. A lot of books. And in the end, all of his predictions related to the Bible revelations and what was going to happen to the earth in 2017 all went down the toilet. But the guy's already made probably $1 million or more, so who cares if he was telling the truth? You see where I'm coming from? Capiche? Let's listen to some more. But what Brian's doing here is he's quoting information from David Meade's website. He is literally quoting it verbatim. I wouldn't doubt if he's actually holding, the David Meade's website up and looking at that quote and reading it verbatim. Okay? Hold on one second. Let's listen to some more, because this is getting good.
And I was led to this image. This image popped up on my screen, and some divine intervention came in and kind of showed this to me.
Yeah, it's definitely a trip when you see that object there behind.
Yeah, that is, and I got all those videos that you saw on my channel are all more verification of this. I got 2 different satellites capturing the same event. One backs up the other.
What are those? What are the bright things that are flying around? Are those stars?
What bright things?
The little balls that float out and then float back in right before the explosions.
That's Nibiru. That one little star or whatever that looks like it's heading towards the sun. It's actually much bigger than that. When it freeze frames on Nibiru is actually a black planet that you can barely see, and that one little spot is like.
There you go, folks. He just told everybody on Marfugal TV early this morning that the little planet Mercury in this footage on the Stereo Core 2 imaging from September 10th, 2017 was actually Nibiru. Wow. Now, Marf was asking about a few things that were flying across the screen. And today, we're going to get into a little bit of an educational program here real quick. And I'm going to show you guys how to identify a few things using these coronagraphs. If you stick around here at Planet X News, you will literally educate yourself, even if you weren't a science buff, even if you despised Earth space science when you were in school. When you're here, you'll learn to love it. No doubt about it. I'm a pretty damn good teacher. Let's listen to some more nonsense. This shit's getting good.
Like a shiny spot on it. It's actually a crack in the crust, and thermal heat from down below the surface of Nibiru is feeding through and it makes that little shiny spot. These objects are so dense, so massive, that they bend light and absorb light. So you can't see them. They don't reflect light. They don't emit it except for that little crack in the one. They bend light so you can't see it. Everybody's expecting to see it in the sky, but you can't see it with your naked eye because it doesn't reflect light. It absorbs.
Now, real quick, folks, here's where your learning lesson's going to take place. If you look at the top of the screen, you're going to see those white blotches at the top of the screen, okay? Those are what we refer to as camera artifacts caused by cosmic rays from deep space. We see them in many different facets on these coronagraphs. Stereo A and B were launched and placed into outer space in 2006. We are dealing with technology from that era. 13 years those 2 satellites have been up there. Stereo B, they say, lost communication with NASA a few years ago during one of its controlled rolls. So, these satellite telescopes, they have a controlled roll where they literally spin one time or several times to calibrate themselves. Okay? A lot of people pass off these spinning calibrations because you see a bright flash on the screen and it turns white. They use that information to fool all of you into thinking something big passed by the camera. But that's not true. That's completely false. I'm going to show you an example of it. Matter of fact, let's just do that. Oops. And we'll get back to some MARF there. Now, in one of Brian's recent videos, titled WTF, okay, that's how he labeled and titled his video, just recent, right on his channel, WTF. What the fuck is this? Sorry for the foul language, but it is what it is. There might be some people out there that don't know what WTF stands for. Anyhow, anywho, and anyway, what you're looking at here, folks, was a coronagraph image filed on May 16th, 2019. Brian depicts this image to all of his subscribers as, I don't know what the hell he said. It was completely, off kilter and completely wrong and false. What you're looking at here was a controlled roll of the satellite at that period in time. When the stereo satellite makes the controlled roll, it creates this type of visual. Okay? Sometimes it looks a little bit different than this. This one is a little extreme. But it happens all the time. Don't you think that if I knew that this picture that you were looking at, if I would see this as often as I have seen it over the years, don't you think that I would have shown this to you by now? Don't you think that I would have divulged and disclosed this to you? See, here's the thing, folks. I know how these space telescopes and these satellites work. I read about them. I researched them. I know about the equipment that is on these spacecraft. Okay? Now, this spacecraft has detectors on it. They detect all of these particles streaming from the sun. Photons, protons, electrons. Okay? When these detectors get overloaded, especially with photons, these space telescopes have a device, a programming algorithm to shut them down so they're not destroyed. These spacecraft are subjected to massive amounts of solar radiation every second of the day. They have to have a way to protect themselves. Sometimes we see that, and we see these spacecraft protecting themselves, shutting down momentarily. Sometimes that is a reason for the lapse in time, but it's not long, unless there is a direct coronal mass ejection directed straight at the spacecraft. They may shut it down till the particle stream is completely passed by. They don't want to destroy the electronics in this spacecraft. It's just a small satellite. That's it. So what you're looking at right there on May 16th, last week, Brian is depicting that, woo, there's something suspicious there. He says that this is a WTF moment, and his subscribers bought it hook, line, and sinker. You can't handle the truth. Oh, shit. Anyhow, anywho, and anyway. Let's check this out real quick. Then we'll get back to some more Marfoogle TV. Okay. If you guys really want to know a little bit about Mercury, you know, Mercury is a pretty unique little planet. And it's not very, very big. And its crust is very, very thin. Very, very thin. And yes, Mercury is subjected to some very, very intense heat on one side of it. But the other side of Mercury, that doesn't face the sun, is a lot cooler. Yeah, you might even be able to survive over there, who knows. But as you can see, Mercury's crust is between 100 and 200 kilometers thick. Its mantle is about 600 kilometers thick. The core, the actual core of Mercury, is estimated to be 1,800 kilometers in its radius, which means two-thirds, if not more than that, of Mercury, that little planet, is all core. And it is a metallic core. So Mercury doesn't really have that kind of mass like Brian was depicting in his video. That's complete false information. So Mercury is a very unique little planet. But Mercury doesn't do a damn thing to the sun. Nothing. Mercury actually shrinks and expands and shrinks and expands during its orbit around the sun in 88 days. The little planet of Mercury actually helped me in my theory of the 28-day orbit of these Planet X objects, or at least the main large object. It took me a few years to put this all together. And what? All of a sudden, some guy making videos in his garage is going to figure this all out? Yeah, that doesn't make too much sense, does it? You know why? Because you can't handle the truth. So Mercury doesn't have any influence on the sun. Mercury is not Nibiru. Mercury does not cause coronal mass ejections on the sun. Mercury cannot pull plasma from the sun. It does not have that kind of juice. Let's just put it that way. All right, now that we've had an education in Mercury, we looked at that picture. Here is an inverted photograph of the Stereo Core 2 coronagraph, the whole spacecraft rotating and recalibrating itself. It does it all the time, folks. So does the SDO, okay? So this was just an inverted. I mean, I get people that send me this stuff all the time, and they're like, holy shit, Scott, look what I just captured. And I try to educate people. I don't tell them that they're wrong. I simply educate them, and I'm like, listen, that happens all the time. What you're seeing there is the space satellite, the telescope, recalibrating itself, and that's what happens. And then, once it rights itself, refocuses on the sun, then everything is correct. It gets itself right. So, he goes on in one of these other videos claiming that what you see on your screen right now, you see those long streaks zipping through space. If you guys watch the Core 2, every now and then you will see these long, thin, skinny little lines zipping through the coronagraph imaging. They're not comets. They're not asteroids. What the camera and the actual algorithm is detecting are cosmic rays. Cosmic rays are still, well, let's just put it this way. There's still a lot more research that needs to be done on cosmic rays. Science, mainstream science today, is still up in the air on cosmic rays. And then we also have galactic rays, which is another name for them. Galactic rays can come from the far, far reaches of space. They can come from a supernova. And guess what? Do you know how long it would take for that cosmic ray, one, to make it all the way to us? Do any of you know that when we, or NASA, or space observatories, are viewing stars and the light that comes from a star, let's just say 5 light years away, that light that we are now seeing today through that telescope is old, very old. That's how long it takes for that light to travel through space and make it to the lens of that telescope. So when you look deep into space through a massive telescope, like at an observatory, you are looking back in time, very far back in time. You're not seeing things in real time. You're seeing the past. And what you just saw through the eyepiece of that telescope could have happened 1,000,000 years ago. Yeah, that's a little tidbit of knowledge for all you stargazers out there. So anyways, folks, whenever you see these little thin lines zipping through these coronagraphs, they're not asteroids or meteors, and they're not Planet X or Nibiru. They're nothing more than cosmic rays, and the detectors are actually picking them up. The detectors on the stereo spacecraft, they are designed to pick these up. Cosmic rays do hit the Earth every minute of every single day. Now, some of these cosmic rays do actually get through, and they do penetrate into the Earth. Over the course of the last several years, we have seen an increase in these cosmic rays. Not from the sun. Cosmic rays from galactic space. Galactic cosmic rays. And science still doesn't really know, or they can't confirm where they came from, because they just don't know. Now, we have cosmic rays that do come from the sun, and we have cosmic rays that come from deep space. These space telescopes are very sophisticated, even if they are 13 years old. But they can't fly out there into space and upgrade them and put new cameras on them and things of that nature. They can't do it. So it is what it is. We're dealing with technology that is 13 years old. Now, they can do some reprogramming. They can make some minor changes. They can actually guide the craft a little bit, but they're not going to upgrade hardware. That's for damn sure. So these are some of the things that we do see that people take advantage of. And when people make the videos, they take advantage of you. Think of it that way. So how would you like me lying right to your face and knowing that what I'm telling you is a complete lie? You wouldn't like it, would you? Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's check out this. Okay, Now, this is what Marf was asking about. He was like, what are those, what are those white things, those splotches on there? Now, sometimes some of that is debris, okay? But remember, you're looking at things through these coronagraphs, folks, in time lapse, and you're not looking at a movie, even though you see it in motion. You're looking at still photographs that are taken between every 8, 12, or 16 or 24 minutes. It all depends. Then they put all those in a slide format, and then they produce what you think is an actual video. And it does look pretty damn real. They could not possibly put all of that data up. It would just be entirely too much. So these little white objects that you see, I have seen so many people on YouTube that have a Planet X channel or, a Bible Revelation channel or Nibiru channel. Whenever they see this, they're like, oh shit, there's that 1 million mile trail of debris. Look, we captured it. No, what you actually captured were little teeny tiny, minute particles that are hitting the detectors. That's all that it is. And what makes them look repetitive, like you see in this photograph right here, what makes them look repetitive, and it explains to you right here. We could even read this. Let's do that. It says, occasionally one will see bright blobs or streaks appearing in the stereochronograph images. These have been seen before by the SOHO mission and are caused by micrometeorite impacts knocking off small pieces of the multi-layer insulation blankets which are wrapped around the spacecraft. Now, we're talking about micrometeorites. We're talking about things that are so freaking tiny. If you were a spaceman out there, astronaut, and you got hit by one of these little micrometeorites, it'd kill you. Yeah, because they travel at rates of speed that are unimaginable. They go right through your spacesuit. The spacesuit would decompress. Your blood would boil, and you would expand and pop. You'd be a dead astronaut. That's why spacewalks are dangerous. Very dangerous. And the International Space Station, it gets hit by these little things all the time. That's why you wouldn't catch my ass up there. No way. It states that these little small debris particles are brightly illuminated by the sun and are easily seen by the coronagraphs if they wander into the field of view. They are tremendously out of focus. Lost my place, damn it. Where am I at here? I'll just skip over here. Okay, they are tremendously out of focus and often appear as donut shapes or in the Core 1 and Core 2 telescopes because of the central occulter in the telescope. The occulter is the black circle that you see in the middle that blocks out the rays of the sun so you can see the coronal mass ejections. You could see things more clearly. If you didn't have the little black occulter, the rays and the light from the sun would overload the cameras and you would see nothing but a white screen. And then we go on, it says the bigger piece of debris appears, the closer it is to the telescope. So what they're saying is the closer this little micrometeorite piece, the closer it is to the camera, naturally, the bigger it looks. So you might be looking at something the size of a grain of rice, but on the coronagraph, it may look like it's the size of a planet. Then the YouTube channel says, holy hell, look at that. There's 6 Nibirus in a line streaking towards the sun. There's that 1 million mile debris trail. Oh my God, I can't I can't do this anymore. But anyways, here we go. This right here, this talks about the spacecraft roll, when it goes into its roll. Do you see the photograph on the right-hand side of your screen? That's the core tube. You see how it's illuminated pretty white like that? That's during the roll of the spacecraft to recalibrate itself. It has to do that, folks. All of these spacecraft, all of these space telescopes recalibrate themselves all the time. That's what you're seeing, Mr. Brian Knight. You're not seeing whatever the hell you told your subscribers. Do some homework. Get your facts straight. Yeah. How do you like me now? So, that's what we were looking at there. And we're going to go ahead and jump back. And let's listen to a little bit more of Brian's explanation on what he is observing.
Orbs light and Ben's light. So what it's in our sky right now, and it's a dark patch in our sky. Use some polarized sunglasses. Look towards the north on a clear day. You can move your head left to right, up and down, back and forth, and you'll see the dark patch in the north at 11 o'clock high. And if you take a little survey around the sky, you'll see it's all uniform blue. Look up at about 11 o'clock high in the north, you'll see a dark patch, and you got to move your head left to right, up and down, and it's not defined. It's a blurry patch where the light is missing. Dark patch in the sky.
You know, so
like I said, these things are so massive they bend light and absorb light. That's why these astronomers are having problems seeing it.
So I guess let me ask you another question. So, so what do you think of the Caltech? Is it Caltech? The two guys from Caltech? Is it? Am I saying that should trigger you right away, right? Or Arizona? There's two gentlemen that are seeing the objects that are moving towards a mystery object. So it's basically sucking in all of these things. They see the things being sucked in, but they can't see the object that is pulling them in. Something has a gravitational pull that is pulling something in, and these guys are respected people, and they're saying that we see things getting pulled in, but we don't see the objects that pulling in. Is that the same kind of theory?
Yep, that's exactly what's happening, and you're seeing that object back behind Nibiru. It's actually, the solar flare is draping over it. Imagine like an invisible table. You can't see an invisible table, but when you throw a tablecloth over it, all of a sudden you can make out the contour of it. That solar flare is draping over that black sphere, and it's painting it so you can see the shape of it. A lot of these guys are talking about black holes. A black hole isn't a hole in like the space-time fabric. The sphere, it's a ball that is so dense, so massive, and has so much gravity that it bends and absorbs light. What you're looking at is dark matter. All these guys are trying to figure out what dark matter is. Dark matter is not a small particle. Dark matter is a big, huge stellar core. That's the core of a star that died and collapsed down on itself.
Now you see right there, folks, right there, the guy took an excerpt from Dr. Albers, claims it as his own, using the terminology stellar core. Dr. Albers coined that phrase. Dr. Albers labeled these objects stellar cores, not Brian Knight. So I've seen many guys like this before on YouTube. They'll go and they'll watch videos, and I know they watch mine. I see Brian in my live chat all the time. And in the live chat, he puts up those two little eyeballs. You know what that means? He's watching. And then he takes what I'm showing you, and then he goes and finds it for himself, and then he presents it to his subscribers like he made this discovery, and this is his science, and then he adds his own little spin to it to make it, I guess, more terrifying for everybody. And then they all want to pat him on the back. And if you read the comments, oh, you're doing a fantastic job. Oh, that is just absolutely wild. Oh. Let's listen to some more.
To a sphere so dense it spits out all the photons and all the electrons, the new state of matter, like antimatter. Imagine a battery that has drained and then gone past being drained into negative territory and turned into a different substance. But whenever you put that battery next to something that has some kind of electricity, it will suck the electricity out of another battery through the air. That's a depleted star that's super depleted. And when it comes by our sun, it reaches out and latches on and grabs and sucks electricity and energy off the sun. Now, there are smaller objects made of the same material that are orbiting our planet, sucking energy out of our atmosphere. They're causing all this weird weather. Gravity pulling magma to the surface. That magma coming up to the surface is causing earthquakes, volcanoes, fissures, fires. The gravity from these planets also causes tidal events like the moon does. So these tidal surges and tidal ricks we're having because of these cores. These are stellar cores and in different sizes. They don't necessarily have to be totally huge as long as they're packed and they all their electrons and protons. It's a new state of matter, antimatter or dark. That's what you're seeing.
It's really fascinating thinking about this mystery object out in space that's so large, it's pulling in things, and I guess if that was possible, that makes total sense that it's so big that it's pulling in light. So it's like a moving black hole, but it's really a black ball, and
no.
They can see the objects pulling towards it, but they can't see the object itself. That's
right. Now, this thing is like a black hole. It has more mass than our entire solar system. So maybe it's not rotating around.
Okay. Hey, listen, guys. I can't stand it no more. You know, my ribs are splitting over here. This guy's talking about antimatter, dark matter. I mean, you know what matters? What matters is the truth, okay? He's talking about black holes and all this stuff, and we're supposed to accept this from a guy sitting in his garage that doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground when mainstream scientists who have IQs in the range of 160 to 180 still can't figure out black holes, dark matter, and antimatter. You see where I'm coming from, huh? Yeah, because if this was all true, what Brian was saying, well, hell, they would have awarded him the Nobel Peace Prize for freaking science. Yeah. You can handle the truth. And poor Marf, he's so confused. Brian has him so confused that you can see Marf is out for the truth. He wants to find the truth. But what he literally did right here was pollute his mind and his viewers with nonsense. I've been on Marf's show plenty of times. He should know right from wrong. He should have known immediately that this guy was talking nonsense. But he gives people a platform to speak their mind. But there's a difference in speaking your mind and speaking the truth. So what are we after, folks? That's my main goal right now. What are we after? What are you after? Do you mind when people lie to you? I mean, if you don't mind, then hey, that's cool. But I would probably say 99.9.999% of us don't like it when people lie to us and they tell us mistruth and they put out disinformation like our governments. You know what I'm saying? Bada bing. But anyways, I couldn't go through too much more of this because it was actually turning my stomach. And, you know, whenever I went back to the live stream, I called Brian out. He was still in the live chat during the live broadcast, and I called him out. I mean, he really pissed me off, And I said, listen, Brian, I'm calling you out right now. What you just told these people in this live broadcast, every bit of what you told these people was complete nonsense and a lie. You lied right to these folks. And the people who are subscribers to Marfoogle TV, they're not looking to get lied to. They want the truth. They are truthers. They want explanations. But they want legitimate explanations, not from a comic book. They want the real deal. And all of the things that he showed Marf were all explainable. And the little planet that was zipping around there, that was Mercury. That's all. Mercury just made a transition. Matter of fact, I'll show it to you. Watch your screen carefully. That right there, folks, what you're seeing is the little tiny planet of Mercury. No more than 3,036 miles in diameter. Just a little bit bigger than our moon. Now, in Brian's other video, he claims that as Mercury was transiting behind the sun, in our view on the LASCO C2 coronagraph, that Mercury, or this Nibiru object, created the coronal mass ejection that you see coming out at the 4 o'clock position to the right. That is absolutely not true. Mercury could never, ever cause a coronal mass ejection. Mercury could never, ever pull plasma from the sun. Just physically can't happen. That's pure science. That's pure truth. So, I mean, this is another one of his videos that he was showing people and making these outrageous claims. And again, dirtying the minds of his own subscribers. Not trying to educate them, but trying to deceive them. I don't know how you handle being deceived, but I don't like it. Not one bit. And we get a better look at it from the coronagraph LASCO C3, which is a further away view. It's not that far zoomed in. And again, you can see Mercury transiting behind the sun. You'll see the same small coronal mass ejection that actually came from sunspot 2741. Not from, Mercury or this Nibiru object creating it. That was complete, no, that didn't happen. And that's all that it is. Oh, boy, oh, boy. I'll give you guys a closer view of it, and then we're going to wrap this small channel review up. Now, he was also claiming, you see those little lines that are zipping back and forth off of Mercury? Planets, when you are viewing them on these coronagraphs, because of the reflection, the reflective light that the sun is exhuming onto that planet's surface, it creates an overload of light onto the telescopic camera. The algorithm detects this, and this is the result. Brian claims that the reason why you see those lines back and forth from the planet Mercury are because of its electromagnetic connection with the sun. But again, folks, that's completely wrong. The reason why you see those lines going across is nothing more than the sun's reflective light off of the planet and the reflective light from the planet to the camera. That's how cameras work. Man, this guy is completely... I banned his ass from my channel. He could still watch my videos and steal the information, but you will not see him in the comment section. And I hope that he's watching this live stream right now. Because Brian, if you want help, ask for it. Learn with all of us. But don't take advantage of your subscribers. Don't dirty their minds with complete nonsense. That's what I have to say on that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm done watching this. Now, folks, let's get into some real information here. Let's get back to these tornadoes and enough of this Brian Knight nonsense. You know, if any of you guys are subscribed to his channel, that's your prerogative. You can, do what you want. If you're in search of the hardcore truth related to Planet X, you'll sit your ass right here. You'll stay here and you know where the real info is coming from. Getting back to this tornado, folks, there are 41 million people in the path of destruction with these tornadoes. Oh, excuse me. We're going to have to be very, very careful. If you live in any of these states, folks, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and possibly the southern portions of Michigan. We'll see how things pan out. As the sun comes up, as it already is, but as the atmosphere starts to heat up, we're going to see these storms intensify. I'm going to get out my little drawing crayon. I'm going to show you guys a few things we're going to be paying attention to. So let me get my crayon out and let's draw a little bit here. So this storm path has just actually changed, as I explained earlier. It was going to be heading up into south central Canada. That's no more. That all changed. It's now pulling this storm system in a diagonal pattern right across the central part of the U.S. into the northeast, and it's going to be here. It's going to be here soon. So right down here, I'm going to draw this little pattern here, and we're going to talk about this this heat, because you're probably going to see more people die. And I'll just say it bluntly, just like that. You are probably going to see more people pass away over the next 5 days because of this massive heat wave that has stalled right over the South. There are going to be a couple of states in the South, folks, that are going to have extreme temperatures, 99 degrees for possibly 5 days in a row. If you don't have air conditioning, you're going to be in trouble. Stay out of this heat. If you work outside, make sure you are hydrated. Make sure your skin is covered. Thin, long sleeves. Put a hat on your head. Make sure you have protective sunglasses. Make sure that every inch of your body, your skin is covered. The back of your neck, you rednecks, make sure that you're covered. Because if you're going to be out there for more than 30 minutes and you're in direct sunlight during this heat wave, you are going to get severely burned. Trust me. That goes for all of the sun worshipers out there that like to lay out in the sun and suntan. Let me tell you something. You could put on SPF 50. You'll probably get burned. May take a little longer, but you will get burned. Remember, folks, we have had very, very high levels of solar radiation blasting this planet for a few years now, and that is actually getting worse. So, Why would you expose yourself to radiation for long periods of time? Yeah, it's dangerous. You shouldn't do it. I know everybody likes to get out. We're just coming out of the winter time. Everybody's got cabin fever. Everybody wants to go out and enjoy the Memorial Day weekend coming up. But folks, we got to use our heads. If we don't start using our heads now, we're not going to survive. Okay? We're going to perish. I'm not looking to die anytime soon. I'm 51 years old. I want to live to at least maybe, I don't know, in my mid-90s. I want to continue to ride that Harley into the wind, baby, till I can't walk no more. So, I'm not looking to go out there and get cancer, because the way that things have been cooking out there, skin cancer rates, they're going to be skyrocketing. You watch and see. They are already at very, very high levels over the last 3 years. The last 36 months, skin cancer rates have gone sky high. All of this nonsense with, I'll just put sunblock on. Yeah, you don't want to be using sunblock all that often, folks. A new study just came out. Those chemicals absorb into your bloodstream now, and that is exactly what they are, chemicals. So the best thing you could do, wear some, thin, long sleeves, protect yourself from the sun. But this is what we're going to be looking at. My biggest fear for this huge heat wave are kids, the elderly people, and animals. I'm going to mention it again. Don't be an ass and leave your animals, your dog or your cats outside during these massive heat waves. Be a human being. Bring them inside. Make sure they're hydrated. And folks, if you've got kids, don't let them outside like this for long periods of time. You're going to subject your children to heavy dosages of radiation and this extreme heat. You're going to end up in the emergency room or at the funeral parlor. That's being blunt. You want the truth? I'll give you the truth, even if you can't handle it. But it's no laughing matter, folks. Hardcore truth coming right at you. So, as we see, the direction is going to be pulling this storm right up through here. And as we go through the next couple of hours, I would say the next 4 to 8 hours, we are probably going to see areas of this storm pattern expand. And because there is a high pressure, there's a high pressure here, there's the low pressure up here. They're bumping together, they're bumping into each other. The low pressure is a lot bigger than this high pressure to the south. But because of this jet stream, and I'm going to show you guys what's happening with that jet stream, the high pressure normally would push up against the low pressure and push it more north. But because this low pressure is stagnant and just stable, it's not moving anywhere, that's going to allow this low pressure system, the storm front, to continue to move on this path. So that's why they were saying 41 million people. 41 million. That is a staggering number for people to be in the line of a tornado threat. We normally don't hear those kinds of numbers dealing with tornadoes, but today we are hearing them. This will truly be a sign of the times to come. Let me erase my crayon here. So we know what the outlook's going to be here for today, and I'm just going to go ahead and jump over here, and we're going to take a quick look at the jet stream. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. Now, yesterday we saw this dip, and I could take you back in time, and we could actually look at that dip in the jet stream. And you can see that this low pressure yesterday, it should have been pushing further up into Canada, but the jet stream changed everything. So as you can see the pattern of the jet stream, excuse me, it's going to pull that storm directly across the northeast. Because we have that high pressure sitting right below us, that more hot and humid air is going to be rising straight into all of this. So the potential for very, very strong storms is a high possibility later on in the afternoon. I would say anywhere from 4 o'clock till possibly even 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. the next day. So be on the lookout, folks. Be on the lookout, especially if you're driving a car or a high-profile vehicle like an SUV, if you're driving any type of a tractor-trailer truck, box truck, any high-profile vehicle. You want to be very careful because these wind gusts could really just knock your vehicle right over. We've already seen it several times over the last couple of weeks out in the Midwest, tractor-trailer trucks just cruising along, and all of a sudden, they just blow over. And if you're a car on that side, yeah, guess what? Funeral parlor, here I come. You're now a statistic. So let's be safe. There are also a lot of really, really crazy looking vortexes that are forming. You're looking at one right here, right off of the coast of Canada up here. Very strange. I mean, you can literally, if I pan back here, you can see these vortexes of air. One here, one here. Very strange pattern here. Small one here, another one here. They're everywhere. This is just very, very strange weather that we've gotten ourselves into, and this will be a sign of our times for the very near future. You can see that this jet stream is pulling straight across the Atlantic Ocean, and look, it's smacking directly into the northern part of Spain. So the last couple of days, we have seen very, very severe flooding in parts of Germany, parts of Russia, several parts of severe flooding in Italy and France. They're everywhere. So we are not the only people on the face of this planet right now that are going through very extreme weather. Let me just jump out of here real quick. Oh, I have it. Okay. And let's just take a quick look, and let's see what surface temperatures are up to now. Because people were asking me about, what's happening over there in India. We'll take a look at India. That's in Celsius. That's 108 degrees in this area of northern India. Other spots, 109.3. Let's get over to parts of the Middle East. 106.7. Parts of Africa, they're always hot there. 111.3 degrees. It's still, it's getting actually late there. Let's see what's happening down under. Dead center, middle of the country, 73 degrees. They're in their winter time, getting pretty moderate over there. And, yeah, there's some real big hot spots, man. 106 degrees, 106, 111. India's a hot spot, man. 108, 109 degrees, 101. Woo! Look out, baby. Now, it's still early here, so we don't have the increase in temperature. However, we can move forward. Let's see if we can get to, let's see if we can get to some of those extreme temperatures. Nope, it doesn't want to project it. Okay, but we saw the jet stream pattern, and it is pretty damn wicked. I'm going to jump over here real quick to my other radar here. This will give us a better view of how long and how stretched out. And this is actually right now, Thursday the 23rd at 10 a.m. You can see this storm cell right here has popped up over the top part, the northwestern part of Texas. That is pretty brutal right there. Wow, that's right north of Amarillo. You can see once again Kansas under the gun. Parts of Missouri, Oklahoma seems to be, getting out of the bad part of this now. But again, very, very early. Couple more hours, atmosphere heats up, conditions change, and you can see this long line of heavy weather. We'll go ahead and let this play, and you're going to see more. Wow, this is not good. And this is a predictive model, so we haven't seen this yet. So it's predicting where these storm fronts are going to be moving. This is going into Friday morning, Saturday morning. So there is still a lot of weather out there. Definitely looks like, oh boy. Oh boy. Man. Oh. Oh my. Oh Lord. Hey folks, I'm going to stop it right there. Hey, we're only into, on this model, we're only into Monday the 27th. You just saw all of that weather transpire on that model. Wow. These states are going to get hit again. Parts of northern Texas, around their little panhandle up there. Parts of Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, as far up as South Dakota. Wow, this is going to be, whew. Missouri, yeah. Arkansas. Wow. Illinois, Indiana, even here in my neck of the woods. This is Sunday we're looking at here. Holy hell. Look at the intensity of this. Jesus. My God. That's only a few days from now, folks. Today's Thursday. We're looking at Saturday the 25th, 7 p.m. And it seems as of lately, these storms really get a go later in the afternoon, naturally. Again, the heating up of the atmosphere, and not looking too good for a lot of these Midwestern states. And over the next 4 to 6 hours, this is going to be heading towards the eastern part of the United States. So once again, folks, just a quick heads up for all of you in these states: Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, maybe even parts of Kentucky, definitely parts of Pennsylvania here in my neck of the woods. They are predicting very, very heavy storms. I mean, very seriously bad storms. This is the Weather Channel. This was just a few hours ago. This was a part of their headline. Destructive tornado tears through Jefferson City, Missouri, causing multiple injuries and extensive damage. I was reviewing some of the information concerning Jefferson City in Missouri, and man, they got pounded. They had a really, really bad time. A lot of damage, and there were a lot of tornadoes that touched down, and they weren't, these small little thin tornadoes. Some of them were base tornadoes where the base of the tornado is really wide. Those are the ones that literally rip a path of destruction a quarter of a mile wide, half a mile wide, and just obliterate everything in its pass. Let's listen to this real quick. Let's see what they have to say. Yeah, this was just a few hours ago. This was on the Weather Channel. Let's take a listen.
We're receiving multiple calls for people being trapped in their homes.
Yeah, that briefing was just a couple of hours ago in Jefferson City, Missouri, after what appears to be a violent tornado touched down just after the sirens went off, and that was about 11:40 p.m. So this was a nighttime tornado, especially dangerous situation. Now, just outside the doors of the sheriff's office, debris was scattered throughout the parking lot, and we're starting to see images of the damage from last night. There are reports of some injuries from this tornado and damage to Jefferson High School, also some government buildings. The power is down in some areas as well. We'll keep you updated on the situation. But again, this was a nighttime tornado. It was a fast-moving storm, and all these little red dots that you see, these are separate reports of tornadoes. It may very well be that these were all the same tornado, just different people reporting them. Let's also take a look a little bit farther toward the southwest. There was another really bad situation. Golden City, Missouri. It's about 150 miles southwest of Jefferson City. At least 3 people were killed there.
Yeah, folks, real quick. I was reading some reports about what happened in Golden City, Missouri. Very, very sad. Like he said, 3 people lost their lives. 3 people were killed. And very sad to see a loss of life. And the bad part about all of this is some of these tornadoes are striking at nighttime. As I mentioned, we may see sporadic tornadic activity in the daytime, leading up to around 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. But what's been occurring is an intensifying situation with these tornadoes as the sun goes down. The atmosphere is still a little warm, but that cooling effect, these tornadoes are morphing into monsters. The bad part about it is you can't see them. You can't see them. And like this reporter says, that happened at 11:30 at night. Most people are knocked out sleeping. Could you only imagine that? The next thing you know, you're laying in bed, snoozing away, and a few seconds later, your house is being ripped to shreds. Just a very, very, very sad situation what's occurring. But this is the world that we are currently living in.
When the storm hit their home. And in Webb City, there was a huge tornado. This is just 4 miles north of Joplin, Missouri, which is just pretty crazy considering yesterday was the 8-year anniversary of that huge EF5 tornado in Joplin that killed over 160 people.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty intense. I'm going to check out one thing, folks, real quick. Oh, dear God. Wow. Yeah, this is another... I'm going to let this commercial play through. This is more from the severe thunderstorms, tornadoes, and flash floodings that occurred in this area of Missouri. Let's check it out.
Damage. This is the Sonic Drive-In. A lot of corrugated aluminum in front of me. The power lines are down. And the damage path looks to be about a quarter mile or so wide because it goes from 54 down around the corner. We walked the damage.
Did you hear what he said? The path of destruction, quarter mile wide.
We're not allowed to get any closer, and that got hit pretty hard too. As well as coming in on 54, there's a motel with a semi in the parking lot.
Jefferson, Missouri, Jefferson City.
Around. I suspect those are folks that were in that hotel last night. And farther down the road, more damage. So the tornado almost paralleled 54, and then it came right up here over Alice Boulevard. This is the gas station convenience store. Typically what we see when we have these tornadoes, at least the low-end tornadoes, is the corrugated aluminum, the roofing coming off over the gas pumps, power lines down across Ellis, and as far as you can see. coming in after dark and just before midnight is always perilous. Most of the fatalities from tornadoes do occur after dark. So we've got multiple media crews out here, but you can see the church steeple took a pretty good hit. That tree got ripped in the middle and blown over. They've moved that off the roadway. And the church itself has been hit very, very hard. It's a brick building. It's standing. Likewise, this brick building is standing. So I don't think we're talking, certainly not EF4, EF5 damage. Certainly, I think we've got some EF2 damage on the bottom line, at least.
Wow. So, folks, they're claiming that these were approximately EF2 tornadoes, and you see the amount of damage just from an EF2. Just imagine if that was a 3, 4, or 5. Yeah. A quarter mile wide path of destruction. Worst part of all, again, it hit at night. So, folks, for all of you that are part of this 41 million people in the path of this threat for these tornadoes today, keep in mind what I'm saying. Things may not look all that bad during the afternoon and even the late afternoon. Apparently, over the last couple of days, we have seen the tendency of these tornadoes to spawn rapidly and intensely at night. And that's where these people are getting killed. Very, very tragic. Once again, folks, remember what I said about that heat wave. If you live down in the South, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, even all the way up to Virginia, parts of southern West Virginia, all of these states, folks, you're going to be under the gun with this heat wave. 99 degrees plus. If there is humidity worked into that later on, the heat index is going to go well up over 100. So please keep yourself hydrated. If you don't have to go outside, don't go. Stay in the air conditioning. If you don't have air conditioning, don't play around. They are already opening up emergency management cooling centers. If you have to go there, wow, this may be 4 or 5 days, as they're saying, possibly even 6. So don't play around with your life. Be safe. And, there are opportunities to get yourself to safety with some advanced warning. I'm giving it to you right now. If you are part of that 41 million people in the path of this tornado threat, heed the warning. Be very careful about what is happening after night, after darkness, after, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. We've been seeing these tornadoes spawn, and again, you can't see them. And you have to rely on the sirens going off. Some municipalities don't have them. I don't have them here where I live. And we are in the path of that. We're looking at later on today, starting around 4 o'clock to 11 o'clock, a 6-hour span of 70-mile-an-hour winds, severe thunder and lightning storms, and heavy downpours. So I'm going to end our live stream right now. I'm going to go secure what I have to secure. For you guys, you folks, if you've got things outside that can fly around and turn into missiles, like garbage cans, plastic or metal, your lawn furniture, anything laying around outside of your house or your property, take it inside, put it in your garage, put it on your, sun porch, secure it, put it in the basement, get it out of the way, because it will turn into a missile and, do damage to your property, do damage to your neighbor's property. And if it's flying around and a rescue worker's out there, boom, they could get hit with it and get killed. There'll be plenty of debris flying around out there. So listen, folks, be very, very safe out there today. I will probably jump back on here early this evening, maybe around 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. And we'll take a look at another update. And look, going back to focusing on some of these other YouTube channels, I hope that you folks don't think that I am being some kind of, big bully. That's not the case. I want the truth for all of you. I want the truth for myself also. So I treat all of you like I treat myself. I care for myself. And I don't like it when other people are lying to all of you, because you deserve better. You deserve the truth, especially when we are going through times like we are going through right now. So, excuse me. Oh boy, I'm dying over here. My allergies have been killing me last couple of days. That's as bad as me coming on here today, showing you all of this tornado activity, showing you the threat that 41 million people are going to be in the path of this threat. And me sitting here and telling you, hey, there's not a damn thing to worry about. Hey, don't worry about these reports. Everything's going to be okay. And meanwhile, I know better. Yeah, you wouldn't like that very much, would you? So, if I have to be the mouthpiece for all of us, hey, I'm game. You all know I got a big mouth, and I don't back down from anybody. But if I see somebody out there spreading disinformation, I'm going to confront them, because I want the truth for all of us. I don't want people passing disinformation to all of you. And if you want to learn about what's happening, then you'll stick around here. And you won't think of me as a big bully. I'm sure there'll be some comments in my comment section later on this afternoon whenever I check it. So for all of you that think I'm a big bully, you go right ahead and you leave those comments. I'll be very, very sure to respond to your comment, and you may not like it. Hey, listen, folks, enough of me for now. Get your butts out there. Secure your belongings, secure your property, and be very, very, very careful with what's about to transpire later this afternoon and this evening. And hopefully I will jump back on here maybe between 7, 8 o'clock tonight Eastern Time. That's if I have power. You never know. I may be like... what the hell was the girl from The Wizard of Oz's name? Oh my God. I'm having a brain fart. But yeah, it's going to be pretty bad here in Pennsylvania. So I may even try to document some of this, but I sure as hell am not going outside during 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and severe storms. But we'll see what happens. Listen, folks, be safe out there. Do not become a statistic, and you'll hear from me later on today. Take care, folks.